Scorned lovers, massive success, and tons of drama. This edition of Rock Feuds has it all, as we break down the tumultuous relationship between Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. Be sure to subscribe to the UCR channel, and go ahead and hit the notifications button so you'll receive all of our latest videos. Now, in most cases, the feuds we discuss here stem from egos, but in this case, the cause can be traced back to romance, with a little bit of ego thrown on top. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham met in high school in Northern California and began their musical relationship in 1968 as collaborators in the band Fritz. Nicks recalled those early days in a 2009 conversation with Mass Live, saying, quote, "I came home with good money. It was enough to pay our rent, and it was enough to pay our food, and it was enough to pay for our Toyota that had no reverse. It left Lindsey completely free to do what he did best, which was record those tracks. I got home at 4 and I'd make dinner, and we would go downstairs and record until 2 or 3 in the morning and then get back up the next day. I had no problem being the breadwinner because, really, what was Lindsey Buckingham gonna do? Be a waiter? I don't think so." The duo built some buzz and scored a record deal with Polydor. Despite this, their self-titled album bombed. Buckingham Nicks were dropped from their label, and things weren't looking good. This was about the time that cracks began to show in both their artistic and romantic relationships. In 2015, Nicks told Elle magazine how things began to fall apart, saying, "I ironed his jeans and sewed his moons and stars on them and made the house beautiful. I was the cleaning lady. Then we joined Fleetwood Mac and moved to LA, and he became very jealous. I was trustworthy, but he didn't trust me, so he tortured me every day until I ended up having an affair." When Mick Fleetwood recruited Buckingham to join Fleetwood Mac in 1975, the guitarist insisted Nicks come with him. A deal was struck, and Fleetwood Mac's classic lineup would be formed. Still, success didn't fix everything, and fame mixed with infidelity and drug use is a dangerous combination. Things really came to a head during the creation of Fleetwood Mac's iconic 1977 album, Rumours.
We were just finishing up the end of our 12 songs in Sausalito for Rumours. And Lindsey and I had a very bad fight right before we were getting ready to go back to LA. And I said, "We're done. I think that this is over. I don't think that we can, all the king's horses and all the king's men can put this back together again. I think that we've gone just about as far as we can go. And we both know now that no matter what it takes, we're gonna keep Fleetwood Mac together. And our breaking up is not gonna break up this band. And I'm not gonna quit, and neither are you." And we were done.
Now, working alongside your partner can be a challenge for anyone. Working alongside your ex is downright impossible. Stevie and Lindsey managed to do it for a while, but things definitely were not healthy.
It's really hard, when you break up with somebody or somebody breaks up with you and you're in this band. And guess what? Guess who you have to see the next day in the hotel, in the breakfast room? That person. It's really hard. And by the way, guess who you get to go on stage with tomorrow night? The person that either broke up with you or you broke up with. And you have to go on stage and just be like, fantastic.
Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham lived the next 10 years like this, scorned lovers in the same band without enough distance to foster any kind of healthy relationship. Addiction was also gripping members of the group, and by 1987's Tango in the Night, something had to give. It was a very difficult record to make, Buckingham told Uncut magazine. Everyone was at their worst, including myself. We'd made the progression from what could be seen as an acceptable or excusable amount of drug use to a situation where we all had hit the wall. I think of it as our darkest period. Buckingham shouldered the burden of getting the album completed, and he claimed that Nicks was the most difficult person to work with at the time, saying, "Stevie was the worst she's ever been. I didn't recognize her. She wasn't the person I had once known." When the album was done, Buckingham stormed off, quitting Fleetwood Mac seemingly for good. We'll jump ahead here past some work without Buckingham, some solo albums, and a performance during the inauguration of Bill Clinton.
Part of what interested me was that this was going to be a nice sense of closure for all 5 of us that maybe didn't exist at the time when I left.
Fleetwood Mac started this trend. Take a few years off, come back for a big tour, take some more years off, and the formula appeared to keep the drama at a minimum. But then there would be quotes like this one that Stevie gave MTV, saying, when Buckingham goes on stage and does his little speech where he says, you know, everything is great and we're just all grown up now and we're having fun, I'm just standing on the other side of the stage and going, whatever. Right now, we're trying to be a little more on the high road, but let us go in and do another album and bang, back down to the bad low road we go. In the same interview, she said, that electric, crazy attraction between Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks never dies, never will die, never will go away. And she later added that even though their relationship is over, quote, it doesn't mean the great feeling isn't there. It means that, you know, we're Beauty and the Beast. It means that love is always there, but we'll never be together, so that's even more romantic. Regardless of their relationship status at any given time, the dynamic between Nicks and Buckingham has always reflected an on-again, off-again romance. Here's Stevie recounting a conversation she had with Lindsey prior to the band's 2013 tour.
In 2011, November, Lindsey and I sat down at my house and I had a talk with him and I told him everything that I'd really wanted to say since 1968. And I said to him, you know, do you remember who we were? Do you remember how cute we were and how sweet we were and how funny we were and how compassionate we were? I said, Lindsey, we need to go back there. We need to be those people again. And if we can't be those people again, we cannot walk on stage again.
As most fans know, the tension reached a boiling point yet again in 2018. Fleetwood Mac were being honored at the MusiCares Person of the Year ceremony. During Stevie's speech, Lindsey apparently smirked. And for reasons none of us fully understand, that was enough for Nicks to threaten to quit the band. She eventually agreed to stay, but only after Buckingham had been let go. Lindsey was shocked and hurt by the decision. He later told Rolling Stone, quote, I don't think there was ever anything that was just cause to be fired. We have all done things that were not constructive. All of us have worn on each other's psyches at times. That's the history of the group. In the same interview, he addressed the MusiCares incident, saying, quote, the irony is that we have this standing joke that Stevie, when she talks, goes on a long time. I may or may not have smirked, but I look over and Christina and Mick are doing the waltz behind her as a joke. Here's footage from that night. It sure does look like everyone in the band was enjoying a good-natured laugh, but it was Buckingham specifically that Stevie had a problem with. Following his dismissal from the band, Lindsey sat down with CBS Sunday Morning and gave his side of the story.
My relationship with Stevie is fragmented.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of love there, but you know, you have to begin with the fact that in order to get through those early days, it was kind of an exercise in compartmentalization for everyone emotionally.
Yeah.
And for me in particular, I mean, I was not the one doing the leaving, she left me, but there was never really any chance to get anything like closure because that takes perhaps some distance.
Mm-hmm. So that's
and so that kind of, you know, is how we got along. And I think, you know, you cut to 20, 30 years later and that leads to a kind of a fragmented relationship. I think, you know, sometimes she might find it difficult that I was lucky enough to find my soulmate late in life and got married and had my first child when I was 48, mm-hmm. and have 3 beautiful children, and that was something she never did. You know, she basically is living her professional life, and mm-hmm. so maybe, I don't know if that plays into it or not.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
So what do you make of the Nicks-Buckingham feud? Leave us your thoughts in the comments. And for all the best news and stories from the world of rock, check out ultimateclassicrock.com.